need to have a conversation this morning about Arsenal. They're a team that 2.5 to 3 years ago were written off by everybody. Arteta is a novice. The squad isn't good enough. The ball doesn't care. Kroenke out protests. Missed out on a top four finish to Tottenham. The world was over. They were never, ever going to get into title races. They were never going to be, it was never going to be possible for them to win a major trophy even. This was a rhetoric. This was a narrative that was pushed and believed by a lot of people. And there was a lot of credibility to it as well. So I'm not debating that. I'm not disputing that in any capacity. But what Arsenal were doing at that time, and before we go any further, hit the like button, please, and make sure you share this because I want to get your opinion, of course, but share this in your group chat, share it with your friends, share it wherever you can. I want to get some opinions on this because I said 2.5 years ago that Arsenal was scary. And yes, they scared me. I don't care whether you were or you wasn't, particularly. I'm giving you my opinion. But I saw a team that became potent, dangerous, that was growing quickly, playing an excellent brand of football that I knew would become title contenders. They did become title contenders. But they've simmered off. And I've been scratching my brain for the last few days wondering why. So yes, hit the like button, share this, leave your comments below because I want to hear from you. And some people will say, Terry, it's basic. Arteta's not a good enough coach. Holds water, I understand it. Some will say, Terry, the ball don't really care. I get it. I understand it. But I think there are some slightly deeper, slightly more complex issues going on at Arsenal that if I was an Arsenal fan, would scare me, would worry me in terms of the structure of your football club. And I'm only going by what I read. So if you can re-educate me, if you can tell me I'm wrong, if you can tell me that what I'm reading is incorrect, please let me know. Please let me know in the comment section below because I think it's really, really important. Before we go any further, I want to shout out our title sponsors today, Stocks FC, the football stock trading. I know a lot of you are signing up. I know a lot of you are using it, which is amazing. But go and check out their Trustpilot score before you go any further. I know there's always a lot of questions around new brands and new companies we're working with. I've been on the platform now for about 9 months and I absolutely love it and enjoy it. But I also understand that some people want a bit more information. So check out their Trustpilot score. You could also go and look at their white paper that explains a lot about their organization. If you scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link below, it will take you to the website. But I do enjoy it. It's a great bit of fun. You know, putting a little bit of your money where your mouth is when it comes to the players that you really do think are going to deliver in the Premier League. So go and check it out now. There's some great IPOs on offer. Joe Linton, Calafiori is available as well. So go and have a look at Stocks FC today, an amazing platform. You can claim your free stocks as well. And everyone who signs up this month goes into a draw to win a PlayStation 5 courtesy of the Football Terrace. Now, it's stated here by Duncan Castles that Mikel Arteta went into this season in his strongest position of power ever at Arsenal, having been handed a new 3-year contract in September. That contract, I'm told, was one key reason why Edu resigned as sporting director. He wasn't happy with Arteta's increasing authority at the football club. Now, for some people, when you read that statement, that may not be problematic. That may not be an issue. I don't necessarily think that Edu did a good enough job in the time he was at the club, especially when you became title contenders. I look at some of the signings and you think about Isak now, and there are big reports out that Arsenal cannot afford the British record transfer fee it would take to sign Isak from Newcastle this summer. Sources say owner Stan Kroenke is extremely unlikely to sanction the move unless there are significant departures. But there's a lot of talk that Arsenal don't have the money. Well, this was a player that was available for 60 million not too long ago, and Arsenal didn't part with the money. I look at Edu. I look at that position at a football club as being accountable, responsible for that decision and that failure, essentially. Now, let's go back to the Arteta power situation. I understand the longer you're at a club, the more successful you are at a club, the better you make the team. You may get a little bit more of a say. You may get more of an influence. what Arsenal were doing, if you go back and look at the videos where I looked at Arsenal as a different side, and I said, you know what, this is scary. And the reason it was scary is I felt you were in a win-win situation. And that was Arteta was going to make you title contenders and win, or he would get you close, which he has done, and maybe somebody else would then step in and get you over the line, because you were building a structure with sporting directors, technical directors, whatever the title may be. You had it doesn't matter whether the title is head coach, but you had a head coach or manager who was coaching the first team, and there appeared to be this uniformed approach at Arsenal. You were investing money, heavy money, which I know you're being ridiculed for now, but you were behaving like a giant club, and I said it at the time. You were renewing the contracts of your best players, something which, if you look at the latter end of Arsene Wenger's reign at Arsenal, every time one of your better players, whether it be Ashley Cole, as an example, Cesc Fabregas, when these guys wanted that big money, that paycheck that represented their genuine quality and value in the football market, they were denied it. And so regularly, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, the Man United, the Barcelonas swept in and took these players. Arsenal changed. And I looked at all of that as being a combination of the head coach, yes, in Mikel Arteta, but the direction that was coming from Josh Kroenke and Edu orchestrating this as the sporting or footballing director. I'm not actually too sure what title they go with at Arsenal, but you know the role I'm speaking about. And I looked at it and just said, Arsenal have moved into the 21st century. Arsenal have left behind the sort of Wenger model of the manager runs a club, the manager dictates the footballing philosophy, the players that you sign, the style of play, who the sporting directors are. Something that I've begged Man United to move away from for the past 11 years. I don't believe that managers have the ability, the training to be able to run football clubs how they did in yesteryear. I think that is gone. I think that is finished. And when I read that Mikel Arteta, there was a frustration from Edu, and just forget Edu and what you think of him for a moment. Think about the positions. That Arteta is getting more and more power. You then look at the brand of football that Arsenal are now playing with. You look at some of the signings that have been, some of them have been good signings, but not massive ceiling raisers for Arsenal. Where that money has been invested, the players that have been allowed to go. Edu has moved on. There's talk that the new sporting director, the name is Jason Artu, is growing in internal support and he could get the role permanently. Now, I don't know much about this individual. And again, if you do and he's really great, let us know. But the talk is that Arteta is going to have a big say whether he gets the job or not. And I'll be honest with you, I praise a lot of what Arsenal have done in the last few years when I've agreed with it. And I look at this and think, how can Arteta employ someone who should be his boss? Yes, they should have a good relationship and they should get on and there should be a camaraderie between them because you want them both on the same page. But the sporting director should have a huge say in who is the head coach and manager, not the other way around in the modern day structure. And I feel as soon as a head coach or a manager becomes more powerful than their board, you can create a big problem, especially if the current modern day head coaches are not trained to run football clubs. It's a very different role from coaching. And maybe since Arteta has got more responsibility and his scope has changed and he's spread slightly thinner, maybe that's had an impact on the style of football. This is something I think Arsenal fans should be asking more questions about. They should be pushing for the journalists that are close to the club to ask questions about, because it goes beyond Arteta. Some may say, Terry, I'm going to use Occam's razor here, and the simple, most easiest explanation is true. Arteta is just not a good enough manager. Therefore, change him and we will be better. And I understand that logic, and it could very well be true. And if you think that, let me know in the comments section. But what for me stands out in this, if you look at all the successful teams around the world right now, if you look at the majority of this, of our, as in Premier League clubs, successful European counterparts, they have had this kind of president CEO model with the sporting and technical director that then employ a head coach for a long time. The clubs in England, Liverpool, have proven they have that model. in recent years. And in fact, when they abandoned it slightly and gave Klopp more power, that's when most Liverpool fans would tell you things went a little bit pear-shaped. City certainly have this structure. Some of the smaller clubs whom don't have the financial power, might, and size of an Arsenal, like Brighton, have this model, and you see that continual success from manager to manager. Arsenal fans have got to ask this question. Now, if your club does this and it goes wrong on a real level, in reality, it doesn't matter to me. I'm a Manchester United fan, and it's not going to impact my day-to-day life. But if some of you go back and look at my content when Arsenal fans were calling for Wenger to go, the one thing that is important to me is how our football clubs are run, by and large. All of our clubs, as far as I'm aware, unless, again, educate me on this if I'm wrong, the vast majority of our clubs are built by the working class communities of which they serve. And although we have multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire, maybe even trillionaires owning our clubs soon, I still believe the way they run should be to serve us and get the best out of these football clubs and to support those communities as best they can. Sometimes there has to be pain in that. Sometimes you've got to speculate to accumulate. Sometimes you've got to make tough and difficult decisions that on the surface we don't like. And I understand that. But Arsenal, if they're truly adopting a model where the manager has the most say-so, the manager has the most power, do you think that will work in 2025, 2026, in this modern era? I'd love to get your thoughts. I'd love to get your feelings. I'd love to get your opinions on that in the comment section below. It may not be a worry for you. You may think it's all okay. You may absolutely be behind this. And that's fair and that's fine. And I'm trying to have a conversation here rather than casting aspersions. I want to have a grown-up conversation about this. Big shout out to Stocks FC. Go and check it out now and sign up for a chance to win a PlayStation 5, a brand new one, that is. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.